If it wasn't abundantly clear already, America has been being gaslit since the Obama presidency. Obama came out of absolutely nowhere community organizer, didn't even finish one term in the U.S. Senate, to all of a sudden become president, with the heavy lifting of deception and cover-up, of course, of his hatred of America being done by the media. 8 years later, it was supposed to be Hillary who would finish off America, but to the stunning shock of the communist deep state, along came Trump. So the Dems had to retool really fast, and instead of using their deep state blueprint to finish off America, they turned their guns directly at Trump to finish him off. Russia, 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 the DOJ, the FBI, impeachment, all of it aimed at making sure he did not win re-election. 2020 was stolen, plain and simple, and Biden was installed. And here's where the great Biden deception kicked in. We now know that not only was his brain failing, but so was his body. And that made it easier for the deep state to control him and accomplish their mission. Open borders, destruction of the middle class, trans madness, woke insanity, all of it. Of course, Obama and the rest of his deep state were controlling every last bit of this. And when the next campaign rolled along, well, perhaps they were hoping that his cancer would have already killed him, or at least prevented him from running again in 2024. But just like Trump in 2016, it didn't quite work out the way they may have wanted. Biden did not win in 2020. Nevertheless, he was sworn in with the complicity of frauds like Mike Pence. The deep state is not all communist per se, and that's what you got to keep in mind here. There are lots and lots and lots of careerists who are simply content to live off the system, as actual communists are running around undermining the nation. They each give each other permission. The fake news media have played a major role in all of this over the past 10 years, the era of Trump, of course, which makes the release of multiple books beginning today uncovering Biden's mental handicap beyond laughable. CNN's Jake Tapper, seriously? We're supposed to now believe that 6 months after Harris lost, he's had a sudden epiphany about Biden's mental decline? James Comey, who almost 300 times before Congress said, I can't remember, I can't recall, still somehow remembers enough to write an entire book. Only the most retarded, of which, of course, there are many, could ever entertain the idea that all this is just some coincidence. Now, it is not a coincidence. It's a conspiracy, but not a coincidence. And remember, none of this would be known if not for Donald Trump. And just as Trump came along and thwarted their plans in the political realm, along came Elon and thwarted their plans in the social media realm. Trump sailed to re-election despite lawfare and not one, but two assassination attempts. And now it's all unraveling, which brings us to the question of justice, meaning people going to prison and or being executed for treason. And yes, executed. The nefarious actors behind Biden and the Great Deception, they're still operating, even if they are scrambling a bit right now. They need to be driven out, not allowed to regroup. We keep hearing, well, that's all just around the corner. Well, it better be. It's not enough to just land on the beaches. You got to push into the heartland of the enemy and wipe them out. Biden, like all of us, deserves prayers, but America deserves justice. Coming to you from Houston, Texas, yeehaw! I'm Gary Michael Voris. God love you.